Yeah, when he actually burned a calorie.
Yeah.
He burned a calorie.
They made it clear. It's one of those things, oh, you guys think you're good? Oh.
Go to break. I do want to read some breaking news here. Rockets star James Harden has been named in a civil suit Monday by Moses Malone Jr. He claims Harden orchestrated an attack on him last summer. Malone Jr. alleges that Harden sent men to beat him up and steal jewelry from him at a strip club in Houston last June. This is after Malone Jr. was critical of Harden on Facebook. Now, police charged 4 men in that incident. Harden was not charged at all or accused of wrongdoing in the case. But this is now the civil suit, and Malone Jr., the son, of course, of NBA legend Moses Malone, is seeking damages from Harden. See how that develops. All right, up next on The Jump, Pop blasting Zaza Pachulia for being dirty. Is that really going to change anything in Game 2 tonight? We will discuss the gamesmanship of Mr. Popovich after the break.
Hope it changes this weather.
This particular individual has a history with that kind of action. Because he's got this history, it can't just be, oh, it was inadvertent. He didn't have intent. Who gives a damn about what his intent was? You ever hear of manslaughter? You still go to jail, I think, when you're texting and you end up killing somebody.
I don't agree with the call that I'm a dirty player. I'm not a dirty player. Just love this game, and I'm playing hard. That's how I was taught since day one, honestly.
All right, The Jump here on the road up in the bay. That is beautiful Fisherman's Wharf. We're on a rooftop here, which, I mean, come on, you can't get better than that, boys. And you just heard Greg Popovich and Zaza Pachulia sharing their very different views on the play that injured Kawhi Leonard. Pop comparing it to manslaughter, which I understand he was trying to make a point. We might want to slow our roll just a little bit there. It might be a little extreme. But obviously, he's trying to influence future events, right, Steven? I mean, well, what's Pop trying to do here?
Well, you know, he just really basically telling people what happened. You know, even though he's not a dirty player, he has done dirty things in the past to Kawhi and other guys. So you can't overlook that. Now, if you're a basketball player, you know what he done was intentional. He didn't know his foot was going to land under Kawhi, but anytime you do that, you make body contact, 9 out of 10 times the shooter's going to land awkwardly. Zaza knew exactly what he was doing.
I've never commented on this. I've been away, but that was intentional. I don't care what nobody says. It was intentional, but because of simple fact, you are trained to close out short. Right. You don't, if a guy's behind the three-point line, you don't run in and get body contacts.
Right.
It was an extra push in that one. So it was definitely intentional, but Pop is just putting the league and officials on notice for, you know.
You played with Zaza, though.
So
do you think he's trying to get in Zaza's head also to make him a little bit more reserved?
No, Zaza, I know Zaza is going to continue to play the way he's been playing. He's not going to change anything.
He's not that much of a factor anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's going to happen?
Zaza's not much of a factor anyway.
Well, he sits him. Now he comes out the game. Now the Warriors go small and destroy him.
Yeah.
Here's my problem. I got 2 problems. Yesterday I talked about how you can't talk about manslaughter when you got a serial killer jersey you're handing from the Raptors. Bruce Bowen was the king of this. This man knows. He learned all the dirty tricks from him, right? Yep. But the other thing I was going to say is, somebody brought it up to me after it came off air. LaMarcus Aldridge did the same exact thing.
We did talk about that on the show yesterday.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
I understand. It's very hard. It's an hour show now. It's hard for you to focus throughout all of it. Yeah, a couple plays later, LaMarcus Aldridge slid in under Steph Curry, and Steph avoided the contact, which is why there wasn't even a foul. But the point was, the Warriors' point, and Mike Brown talked about it yesterday as well, saying, hey, come on, let's not pretend this doesn't go both ways.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like, first of all, him complaining when those guys are doing it. But I especially don't like him saying all these things about Zaza, when, again, you had a guy whose career, I mean, you could ask Ray Allen, you could ask Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, the list goes on. This man right here, like, Bruce Bowen did this, and that was his thing. And you know, when Pop was confronted about it, you know what he said at the time? They're just frustrated because Bruce is such a great defensive player. Well, guess you're just frustrated because Zaza guarded your man. That's why.
Are you equating Bruce Bowen and Zaza?
Sure, why not? That's what we're doing.
There we go.
Anyway, let's get crazy.
Let's get crazy. I want to talk about tonight's game 2. Kawhi doubtful, although if you listen to Greg Popovich, that is extremely doubtful. Now look, they beat the Rockets in that Game 5 overtime without Kawhi. They beat the Rockets in Game 6 without Kawhi. But against the Warriors, well, we saw a very different story in Game 1 when Kawhi was on the floor and when he wasn't. So I guess, what chances do you guys give the Spurs tonight? What you got, Tracy?
I don't really give them a chance of winning this game. I think, you know, having Kawhi out of here You don't have a guy that you could go to when things start to get out of hand and say, go get me a bucket. I think if you're counting on LaMarcus Aldridge to be that guy, then you're going to have a long night. Not saying that he can't, but this is not Houston. This is a different beast that you're facing. And when these guys go on those 15-0 runs, it's hard to stop them, man. And again, who are you going to go to on the offensive end and say, get me a bucket? I don't see it happening.
They game to get was game one. Got a rusty Warriors team. They wasn't ready to play. They had been off. That was the game to get. Tonight, they're going to be on the A game. The shots going to be falling. The last game, Steph and KD was kind of rusty from the beginning. I mean, game one, they was rusty from the beginning. But tonight, everybody going to be on fire. Clay going to be on fire. The arena going to be pumping. It's going to be a blowout tonight.
Can you devil's advocate any situation where you see the Spurs winning?
Well, I was going to do the Avery Bradley line that he used earlier in the show. but if you're asking me how the Spurs can pull this out, first, they can't let this be a track meet.
They got to
be slow, control pace. And the thing that LaMarcus Aldridge is doing a great job early and went away from was when he ran down the floor, he went right to the front rim.
Established position early.
Because if you were trying to back down Draymond Green from 10 feet out, that's not going to work.
No.
You catch it here, though, and the rim's right ahead of you. Now you've got some chance, not only are you the sides, but also Draymond's under the rim, so it's harder for him to contest. If LaMarcus Aldridge isn't focused and kind of like with his mind made up, I'm going to do this tonight, they might as well just pack their bags and start going to Cancun or whatever.
1, 2, 3.
He's got to be aggressive. He's got to assert himself. And Patty Mills was off in the first game, and I think he'll probably get it rolling. Jonathan Simmons add a little bit more. I just don't know if they have enough, shooting and a guy that you can give the ball to and create for these other guys to give them opportunities to be able to win this game.
They don't.
The problem is they have to play a perfect game.
Right.
And even if you play a perfect game and do all the things that we just talked about, Warriors can go on a 15-0 run at the end, and they won't even.
Now, I will say this. I've watched a lot of pop teams.
Right.
That game 6.
You played on a pop team, too. I just want to point that out.
The game 6 that I saw these guys play against the Rockets, how that offense and defense, how they were just clicking on all cylinders. Now, if they play like that, they will have a good chance of winning.
Right. Although, as Amin points out, the guys they got on the other side, I mean, they can just pop in so many points at any moment. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, I mean, look, I'm like 74 points overall on Sunday. They were just unstoppable. This is the most they've piled in any game as teammates. Steph took the third quarter, 19 points. KD carried them in the fourth, 12 points. I mean, look, we spent a lot of energy over the past few months saying, can KD play well when Steph plays well? Does Steph have to take a step back when KD is playing well? I didn't see anyone stepping back from anything in game one, just a lot of people who really know how to score basketball.
You're talking about unselfish basketball players that know how to play the game. They're in the perfect system. These guys don't need the ball to dominate the ball to make things happen. I mean, these guys are spot-up shooters. You have guys, 2 guys that can create for, 3 guys that can create for, everybody on their team. I just think, with Clay being off and Steph and KD getting it going, at some point, Clay is going to step up and start making shots. These guys could take quarters off and one of them will pick up. I mean, it's just how they play.
And what's big right now is Steph is not saying, okay, KD, let me get you going and I'm going to follow suit. I'm going, KD, you come follow me. And that's the way they playing now. That's the way they played last game.
The Warriors are always best when Steph Curry is aggressive and not trying to defer. There's more than enough shots for KD to get as we saw in game one. You don't have to defer to him. The way this offense runs, and all these players are so smart, they'll get you when you're open. The main thing is, like T-Mac said, when Clay gets off, now you got issues if you're San Antonio.
Well, I remember Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals last year. He's due for another one of those, so we'll see when that happens. We are going to take another short break, but first, our distant replay. I want to do something nice for the Knicks fans, all right? Tonight's lottery night. It might be another difficult evening. Take a look, Knicks fans. This is for you.
LJ 4-point play? I'm guessing.
The Knicks have to get themselves 2 chances to tie or win the ball game. 4 seconds. Van Gundy calls a play, a triangle. That usually means something for Ewing. Out in Houston. Houston ducks under. Got it!
And the New York Knicks have become the second team in NBA history to knock off a number 1. And 8.
With hotels getting so expensive, how do you find great deals anymore? Well, Priceline found a way with Express Deal Hotels. We work with top hotels to fill their unsold rooms, saving you up to 60%. Just tap and go. Check them out now at Priceline.
Dear Predictable, there's no other way to say this. It's over. I found a permanent escape from monotony. Together, we are perfectly balanced. Our senses awake. Our hearts racing as one. I know this is sudden, but they say if you love something, set it free. See you around, Julia.
The new Disney Crossy Road game featuring Pirates of the Caribbean is coming to Dave & Buster's, and right now, play 3 pirate games for free. Play the all-new arcade game only at Dave & Buster's, and see Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales in theaters May 26th.
There's people
that he will treat
there's more
classified
intrigue tonight,
information
frankly,
with caution,
than there's going to
with
be
care.
on draft night. You have the fate
Our
of several
intelligence
franchises
professionals,
just
many of them
bouncing
put their
around with those
lives
little
on the
ping pong
line every
balls.
day.
You got Boston,
to
which has the
inquire.
highest chance of the #1 pick, 25%. But if they somehow fall out of the top 3, that top pick that Danny Ainge has been holding on to for 4 years now is going to lose a ton of value. And then you've got the teams with protected picks. The Lakers keeping their pick if they end up in the top 3 tonight, but if they don't, they lose the pick entirely. It goes to Philadelphia. The Sixers have pick swap rights with Sacramento. Oh, and then there are the Pelicans, who if they somehow make it into the top 3 tonight, they get to keep the first-round pick they're supposed to send to the Kings for Boogie Cousins. Sorry, Sacramento, if that happens. So, Tracy, fill in the blank here. The lottery tonight means the most to which team?
Well, to one of the historic franchises in the NBA is the Lakers. You know, they need to keep that top 3 pick. If not, you see that they're going to lose a pick to Philadelphia, lose a pick to Orlando Magic in 2019. So I think it means a lot to them because of what they're trying to do moving forward. Magic Johnson's in the front office.
If it meant so much, why'd they win all those games at the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, and that did hurt them. But, you know, they wasn't trying to win those games. It's just, it happened. They went on a 5-game win streak at the end of the season and put Phoenix, you know, behind them as the second worst record. So, I don't know.
Can't even tank right. What about you, Stephen? Who do you think the lottery means the most to?
I would say the Lakers. I mean, Magic is just doing something great. You know, he's trying to get that thing turned back around. I would definitely say the Lakers.
Yeah, you know, I would say the Lakers too, but I'll give you guys a different answer.
Yes.
I'll say Sacramento.
Okay.
Because Sacramento has 2 things going on. You mentioned the Pelicans pick. If the Pelicans,
I mean, people blasted that trade,
Right.
including a #1 pick.
Right.
If for some reason the Pelicans end up in the top 3, and you don't even
You didn't
get
get
the
that
#1 pick
Man.
in the Boogie Cousins deal, and you
That-
basically get
in
Buddy
this
Hield,
draft.
and that's about it.
in this draft, that would be a huge
That'd be
upset.
huge.
I mean,
That'd be the most Kings thing ever. I mean, it really
Well,
would.
not only, no, there's another thing that could be the most Kings thing ever. They have a pick swap with Philadelphia. So if their pick should be higher than Philly's, Philly says, no, not so fast. Give me that pick. You can have our
Philly
pick.
can actually come out gigantic.
Amazing.
Right.
They're going to have an amazing night tonight.
So maybe they're the answer to that fill in the blank. I don't know. We got a lot of intrigue there. You want to be sure to tune in for that. All right, the Jump might have left Los Angeles for the day, but you know our favorite soap opera is continuing to run.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Yes!
You know it. You love it. It's As the Kings Turn.
Music.
In our latest episode, Chad Ford is reporting some agents are so wary of the team's front office drama, they want to keep their clients from working out with them as a way of discouraging the Kings from drafting them. I guess, guys, no one wants to be the new lead character in our soap opera. I find that a little bit insulting, personally.
Body's got a chokehold on that.
One longtime agent told Ford, quote, "It would be malpractice to let my clients play for them. I've had clients there. It's still the most dysfunctional front office in the league by a mile. How can you trust those guys with one of your players?" I mean, we've seen this before, right?
Yes. Philadelphia, allegedly, Kristaps Porzingis refused to work out for them. And so what was allegedly. So what was happening with Philadelphia was a combination of 2 things. Players on the high end didn't want to go there because, again, teams doesn't look like it was about winning. They didn't want to be a part of that. But also on the low end,
Because they explicitly said that they weren't about winning. There's that too.
Yes, absolutely. But then on the low end, with a lot of the second-round guys and undrafted guys, they had these really draconian-style deals where it was 4 years non-guaranteed. So you play great, you're on minimum for 4 years. It's a long time for an undrafted player. But if you don't play well, we cut you and you have nothing.
Right.
And so agents will get upset about that and they say, you know what? You're not going to take care of my little guys. I'm not sending you my big guys either.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a huge deal, right? If you get drafted to a bad franchise at the beginning of your career.
Well, I mean, if there's no structure, you know, for these young guys coming in to where it's a bad environment and nobody is really helping these guys progress, because you really can get lost.
Yep.
And once you get lost, it's hard to find your way in this league, man. And I hate to see that with these young guys coming in. So, if I'm an agent and I have a say-so where I want my guys to work out and where I want them to play, I'm going to control that.
Now, Sacramento, of course, has told people, yeah, we're going to take who we want anyway, which is what you would expect. I mean, it certainly has happened
It's happened before.
Yeah, Vancouver did that with Steve Francis, and it worked out perfectly.
Right? The Clippers took Chauncey Billups off waivers when he explicitly said, don't take me, and they took him anyway.
It always works out, right?
Stephen, you have a solution, though, right? Who should go play for Sacramento?
I mean, nobody else don't want to go. Hey, I'm ready to go.
Oh, man, come on.
I'm ready to
I thought you were going to say a name. I was like, who?
No, the first thing when we talked about this in the newsroom this morning, he's like, I'll go play for him.
He's under contract. Big three. He can't.
There's a clause.
Breach of contract.
There's a clause. NBA, everything's out the way. Take it off the table.
We got to get to the latest news out of New Orleans. Yesterday, the Pelicans announced they will retain both head coach Alvin Gentry and GM Dell Demps for next season. Now, remember, the team went 11-14 after the Cousins trade, 7-10 in games where Boogie played in. A lot of people thought Demps was maybe more in the hot seat, and then he made the trade, and then people thought, okay, now Gentry's in the hot seat. Apparently, the seat is actually cool.
Lukewarm.
Was that the right decision?
Yeah, I would say
lukewarm.
Cool. I would
say lukewarm?
Yeah.
Well,
look, here's the thing.
And you know Alvin real well.
I know Alvin really well, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, Alvin's your boy. That's why you're going to stick up for him.
Right.
But the truth is, stop. The truth is, what was he given? What was he given? We talked about this in the newsroom.
Nothing.
Hollis Thompson was signed off a street corner and started that night.
Yeah.
Jared Jack came off of not playing for a year and a half due to a torn ACL. He started that night. You can't give a guy scraps and say, oh, you got to go out and win.
Right.
Even with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. On the other end, though, Dell Demps, the reason why they don't have talent is because they give a lot of money to guys like, what's your boy name? Solomon Hill.
Yeah.
They give a lot of guys to guys like Omar Ashik and Etuan Moore, and they haven't done a good job of
You think keeping Alvin is the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you made this trade mid-season. It's hard to determine.
Late season, yeah.
Yeah, so give him a shot, see what he does, and see if they could get him some talent in there. I mean, you can have these two big guys all you want, but if you don't have anybody surrounding them, I mean, it's going to be the same outcome that they had this year.
Right.
I mean, the holiday situation is, of course, going to be the big test over the summer. See if they can keep him on board.
That's a huge one. That's a huge one, because if you lose him, then who do you
I don't
have?
know who you're getting if you lose him.
There are no points.
Unless you get to keep your pick.
Oh!
You end up in the top three.
My boy, Lonzo Ball.
Then you then you might have a lovely guard situation to join Boogie and Anthony Davis. I'm telling you, this could all work out. This could all be very different. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, Ramona Shelburne is going to join us to talk about her latest incredible feature in ESPN magazine, LeVar and Lonzo Ball, whether LeVar is scaring away any teams as we approach the draft. Amin.
I gotta go?
You gotta go,
Shout out to the guy who said I look like a music exec, and these two guys are my artists right here.
You couldn't just walk in and sell records, right?
Now, I want to say, for those of you who are watching right now and said, I'm so sick of LeVar Ball, you have someone on the set who feels just like you, correct, Stephen Jackson?
Yes, I do. I just don't like. I love the fact that what he's doing for his kids. I love the fact he's promoting his kids. I even love the fact that he's a black man that's starting to start his own shoe company. I love the fact, and I think we should support him. But I don't like the fact that you try to demean greats like MJ to get those things sold. I think they're going to get sold because his son is a talent, and everybody loves his marketing strategy. So people are going to support, but don't try to demean our greats to make your shoes get sold.
And that piece he was saying, negativity sells. I mean, you know, that's fine with him, but he's been negative.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's been negative a lot. So
how LeBron raises his kids.
Right.
So he could have beat MJ.
So what is it? I mean, you causing that upon yourself. My thing is, I want to know, has he been like this his whole life?
Whole life.
Right. So I have no problem with it.
He wakes up in the morning like this, Trace. I'm serious. I showed up there at 9 o'clock in the morning, okay? And you show up, and LeVar answers the door, and you're like, I was just getting going. Like, I'm not a morning person, right? So he opens the door, and he's like, hey, like, big personality, and I show up, and he's got, like, French toast made. He's got strawberries sliced into like 4 or 5 slices, like not just like one.
Right.
And he does this every morning with like eggs and ham and French toast for his boys. He does 2 different shifts. And he's a trainer at his heart. Like, the more I was around, like, I don't need you to yell Big Baller Brand at me all the time. I don't need you to tell me, like, I write what I see. And what I saw was a guy who has been training his sons for 20 years. Like, he has this vision. And you know what? The vision existed long before he even had kids. Like, the opening part of the story, which I don't know if this would work, but it apparently did. He meets his wife, Tina, who's a tall basketball player at Cal State Los Angeles, walking down the hall, and he sees her and he goes, "You and me? We're gonna do something together. I don't know what, but we're gonna do something." And he keeps walking. Like, didn't stop.
Right.
Didn't say anything else. And I go, well, how did that work, right? And he goes, well, it always worked. And I said, well, but like, what do you think she was thinking? And he goes, well, you may not like me. You may think I'm cocky or arrogant, but you will be thinking about me. And I said, that's kind of like your philosophy on life, isn't it?
Right, that's his whole game, right?
And I think the trainer quality of it, like when you watch Lonzo sitting there, like he's just listening until his trainer's done talking. Like, I mean, it's his dad, but that's his trainer.
So LeVar, the dad, has a line to you about training pigeons in the story. Do you even buy this? And this is what's hard for me sometimes. Is I do actually admire some of the way he has gone out and got something for his kids. But sometimes it's just like, could you take it down?
Hot air. Some of it's hot air.
Like there was a part in this interview, I don't know if that made the final piece, where he would come up with these lines, right? And I go, did you just make that up right now? Come on, you just made that up. And we were talking about training. He goes, yeah, I train dogs, I train pigeons. I trained a pigeon to do a backflip. And I was like, LeVar, come on.
Right.
Like, you didn't train a pigeon to do a backflip. Okay, and Lonzo even started laughing at that one, right? Like, Lonzo even just busted up. But then, yesterday, I published a story. I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
A couple people sent me videos of pigeons that do backflips. Apparently, this is the thing. Like, I'll tweet out the link after we're done with it. Like, there are pigeons that do backflips. So this is the whole thing with LeVar. I don't know whether I should take him seriously, literally, but he's right. We are talking about him. We are thinking about him, and it says as much about us, maybe, as it does about him. And I think the reason why he's resonated so much right now, at least in the discussion, is that he's tapped into something that's happening in music and in sports, which is everybody trying to do it on their own. Cut out the middleman. Own your own brand. Do your own company. Like, look at Jay-Z with Tidal. Look at Players Tribune, Uninterrupted, all of these. Everybody wants to cut out the middleman, and he's doing it before he's ever done anything.
Okay, but you
before
can
his
cut out
son
the
has done
middleman with
anything.
shoes. You can't cut out the middleman with the NBA.
No.
You need the
right.
teams to buy in and draft you. You need to be on that court. I want to take a look at Chad Ford's big board. This is where he's got ball as the number 2 spot. We'll have to see who gets the number 2 pick. But is there any sense when you talk to GMs that LeVar Ball is scaring any teams away? They just don't want to draft the son because they don't want to deal with the father?
No, I'm serious. Like, I thought that too, Rach, and I've called around too, and I know Jeff Goodman has, Chad Ford. We're all hearing the same thing. I don't think it's going to matter for him. I mean, like, you're not drafting the dad. He's not moving. No. He's not moving with him.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's staying right in Chino and continuing to train his younger sons. And he's got like 30 kids who come over to his house all the time, and he's training them in the backyard.
You can see by that video, though, Lonzo has his own personality.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they have a great understanding. So on the outside looking in, it really doesn't matter as long as their relationship stay intact.
You know what? He seems humble. He seems humble. He
You'd
seems
have
grounded.
to be.
Well, here's one of the things that I thought was interesting.
With that father?
This has been going on. You asked earlier, has he always been like, yes. On their AAU team, he didn't play on the traditional AAU teams. He played on his own team, right? And they didn't go to the tournaments that other guys went to. And LeVar explained this. He goes, I didn't want my sons playing with all the best players.
Right.
I didn't want them playing with a bunch of all-stars because then they wouldn't have to elevate their teammates. When you talk to front office personnel about Lonzo Ball as a player, they all say this. He is very unselfish. Like, the way he plays, he has to make everyone better. One, he was the oldest kid on the team. And he was 11, and he's playing with his younger brothers. They were 8 and 10, right? And they're playing against 14, 15, 16-year-old guys. I watched this home video of them playing. It's ridiculous. Like, you see LaMelo, 8-year-old LaMelo, shooting 35-foot three-pointers, like, just running down the court like they're the Warriors, shooting, like, three-pointers from 35 feet when they're 8 years old against 14-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been playing like this and going against the grain their whole lives.
Look, I appreciate, what he's doing for his sons and for a black family, starting stepping up. Some of the things I don't appreciate are some of the negative things that he be saying. But I mean, you got to, tip your hat off to what he's doing business-wise.
Well, it's funny, when you were writing this story, we were talking, and I was on the tennis beat covering the Williams sisters when they first came onto the tour, and Richard Williams was a large presence, not so much anymore now that they're grown, but they were teenagers then, and he was there, and he was making the same comments before they were born. I knew that they were going to be big stars.
Chino Hills and Compton is two different places.
Could you imagine if Serena and Venus' father, they created their own brand?
Right.
What they turned
back then, instead of Nike, or
exactly.
They did. No question. But what I was going to ask though about that is that the negativity that came toward Richard Williams definitely filtered down to Venus and Serena, and it was something they had to deal with. There were some ugly incidents in locker rooms. Now, tennis is dealing with a different level of racism in the sport, especially back in that era. That was quite a while ago. Basketball is a very different sport, but that being said, I want to ask the two players here, do you think that any of the players on Lonzo's new team, whatever it is, are going to sort of keep him at arm's length because they don't know what the father's going to say about that?
No, I don't think so. He's going to be accepted by the players. He's going to be a target, too. Let me say that, too. He's going to be a target, too. But whatever team he's on, they're going to accept him and embrace him. He'll be fine.
Again, he is not his dad's personality. Like, it's totally two different personalities that he's bringing to the team.
I'm sorry. Do you guys really think LeVar is not going to take shots at Lonzo's new teammates the way he took shots at his college teammates?
If he does that, it will be a problem, Rach. It will be a major problem.
I don't expect him to leopard change his spots. He took shots at his college team. I got to think that at some point someone's going to ask LeVar
and
what
we're all going to keep calling him.
That's what I mean.
Like, that's the thing. I'm writing the story. And, you do the interviews 2-3 weeks in advance, right? And you're writing. And every day there was another story because some radio station had called him. And he's going to keep taking the calls and he's going to keep making news. Like, he's going to keep talking. And I think the thing for Lonzo that he's going to have to come to this, like, everybody grows up sometime, right? And whether you want to keep your dad in your life or not, you're going to become your own man. And one of the big challenges I think he's going to face, and I don't know if LeVar planned this, if he's aware of this, he coached him and he trained him to this point. But at some point, Lonzo's going to be Lonzo. And this may be the evil genius marketer, okay? He talked about being the bad guy. He's kind of become the obstacle that Lonzo has to overcome.
Right.
People will actually
rooting for him.
People will root for that.
Be rooting for him.
Do you think that's part of the master plan? I don't know. That's why I think it's like Westworld.
Find out.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Ramona is going to stick with us. We've got Make or Miss up next. We have another distant replay for you featuring
61% shooting by the Sixers, 43%, but Pierce coming in strong. Well, Rondo and Pierce are unquestionably more aggressive here at the start of this game. Under a minute.
Difference, but long as his face, long as they can see his face, long as they know he's around, that's enough right now.
Right. If you're a player, that means something.
Yeah, if he's around, I mean, it's a familiar voice. He's the guy that gives you great pep talks and gives you that extra energy. We hope he get healthy soon.
Yeah.
And, see what they can do if they can make this run.
I'll say this, though, Rach. Like, they're very different guys, Mike Brown and Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
like, Steve Kerr is loose and fun, and he's got a discipline to it.
I mean, they're all different, but Luke Walton was more in Steve's vein than Mike Kerr.
And Mike Brown is he's a notebook and clipboard guy. He's an X's and O's guy. He's very prepared. Like, I covered him in LA. He would always sleep at Staples Center and watch game film there. And they would have to,
Steven,
him very well, right? He's like out of that pop school, X's and O's, super organized. Whereas Steve is very organized also, but I don't know that he has
a little bit more flexibility.
And you wonder with that offense if he's going to have the same sort of way to massage it or understanding, because that offense is about flow. That offense is not necessarily X's and O's and calling plays, and it's about flow, and you have to understand that and hear that rhythm. So that's an evolution as a coach that Mike's going to have to make.
Well, that's why I think, it's not a big deal that Steve Kerr is not there, because it is about flow. I mean, these players are very intelligent basketball players, and, when they're out there, they don't need anybody from the sideline calling plays for them. They know how to play the game.
Right.
Mike is a defensive coach anyway, so his main focus is defense. They didn't bring him in for that anyway.
I want to switch gears because we got to get to Paul George. He was on Jimmy Kimmel last night. He was asked about his intentions, right? I want you to his relationship with Magic Johnson, potential move to Los Angeles. Take a listen.
I love Magic. Great dude.
Good. You're going to be working for him.
I know I'm going to always get those ties, man. I'm an L.A. kid. Actually, at my home, Kobe is like the biggest person in my house.
Sure. What does Kobe
Not even
say?
me.
Have you talked to Kobe about coming to the Lakers?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I plan on working out with him and.
Oh, you are going to work out
pick
with
his brain a little bit.
Have you worked out with him before?
Nah, not
Are you
yet.
nervous about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would think so. You know,
I'm training now to get ready to work out with him.
I mean, Steven, he's not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah, he said a lot without temper.
Right?
Yeah, he said a lot, but hey, tell you where he leaning. He thinking about it. You can tell he thinking about it.
But we're back to the same place, okay?
It's not up to him.
It's not up to him. I think everybody knows, the Pacers know what the board is here, but the Lakers have to decide, do you want to trade for him now to make sure that he doesn't get away later, or do you want to take the chance that he's going to go someplace, get traded, and love it there? What if Boston trades for him and he loves it there?
Could it be that Magic and Larry already worked out a deal, and that's why Larry stepped down?
Conspiracy theory.
But I would
might be a little bit far to go.
A little far.
I don't know, but as a player, Tracy, I've got to think that he wants to make his intentions known.
Yeah, I mean, the kid is from L.A., and, you know, playing for the Lakers is probably a dream come true for him, and why not? Why not? I know he's still under contract with Indiana. Things haven't worked out the way he wanted to, but, I mean, if you got an opportunity to go back home and play for a team that you grew up watching in the area that you're from, hey, I'm all for that because I did it.
Well, if you're right, Tracy, and they get their pick in the lottery tonight, maybe one of those picks gets packaged for a Paul George deal. We will find out. All right, time for Make or Miss. Make likes. Russell Westbrook liked an Instagram post. Greg Popovich and Zaza Pachulia ran. That's pretty amazing. Trace, what do you think of this?
What was that? No, wait, that's the wrong thing.
Oh, the Dion Waiters.
Dion Waiters got Tony the Tiger on his collar.
Dion Waiters has a shirt of himself also that he was wearing today. I don't know if we're showing that at all or not, but come on.
I like the shirt. I like Dion Waiters. I love what he wrote in the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
It's a little like the ice water in my veins, you know? Like
he's on TV. He's got to suit it up.
I'm buying. I'm buying anything Dion Waiters is selling right now, first of all, because after that Players Tribune article, I'm totally in on Dion Waiters.
Right.
I also will have to say, we're not showing the video, but the fact that Russell Westbrook liked Greg Popovich ranting on Zaza Pachulia. For those of us who thought maybe, oh, there it is. For those of us who thought, oh, maybe they've thawed the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook thing because they, of course, Kendrick Perkins said that they talked on the phone.
He's just letting us know that, 1 second. Right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I remember we were sitting right there when that happened.
Right?
Yes.
Look, Russ is the kind of guy who keeps track. Like, he doesn't forget this. And 3 years from now, when there's a play involving those two again, we're going to be showing that highlight. He didn't forget.
That was standing over him like that. Yeah, you can't forget that. Where's Steven Adams when you need him?
Well, yeah, he was. There we go. All right. We got to go. We're wrapping up here in the Bay. I do want to give a shout out to Russell Westbrook because his baby boy, Noah, congratulations.
Hey, next time y'all get a damn heater out here.
We got to talk about tomorrow's show. We got Paul Pierce. We got Mike Conley.
Hey, Paul, tell me. Today, Kelly Olynyk erupts and Celtics advance. Did I just read that? Did they advance? What the hell? And Coach Pop, mad at Zaza. Flames coming out of his mouth. Mad at you, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's talk about